So many roads to go before the dawn. Just take my hand, don't let us come undone. You may not see the glow, but I see it shine. Keep holding on, cause we're too far from done.
So before I upload my video today, I would like to discuss first some big changes to the Toxic Queen Saryn. I did plan to release a Saryn build next week, specifically a spore build, because I already have the perfect weapon right now for this Warframe to pop her spores, but, as you have heard, she will be receiving big changes soon, and I will try to discuss it here on this video and give my thoughts about these changes. Okay, let's begin. It looks like Digital Extremes will overhaul all her abilities, starting with her first and most used ability, the spores. Now I've seen a few promising change on this ability, starting from its status chance, which will be changed from 10% to 50%, and it will scale with power strength right after the change. Also, the change will make this ability have infinite duration and escalating damage. As the developer said, its duration is determined by the enemies affected. As long as enemies are dying to spores, they will spread. As an added bonus, the longer your spores deal damage, the more your damage output will grow. In addition, when an enemy affected by spores dies, they spread to surrounding enemies, which makes it much easier to keep spores active. But the problem is, they are changing its base status damage from viral to corrosive. Why is this a bad news? It's because corrosive may be really great in terms of stripping enemy armors, but it doesn't play really well in almost all enemies like a viral Saryn. Viral status effect reduces a target's current and maximum health by 50% for 7.5 seconds, and duration-based status effects are prolonged due to Saryn's passive, which makes it pretty good against all factions. Its effect that reduces enemy health by half is what makes Saryn really good, and in fact, she is wreaking havoc right now in the Sanctuary Onslaught with this ability. When it becomes corrosive, in my opinion, it will be just good for those heavily armored units, and there are multiple ways to strip armors in the game, to be honest. That makes this ability rather useless if that happens. And the thing is, the developer noted that as long as enemies are dying to spores, it will spread. But what if they don't die? Well, I don't want to overjudge this ability just yet, as we might see some amazing combo or things when it becomes corrosive. But seriously, it's a nerf in my opinion. Her molt ability will also be changed. The rework will give molt a momentary speed boost for a short duration right after you cast it. But the best part is, DE stated that it will now scale similar to Rhino's iron skin. All the initial damage it takes in the first few seconds will make it stronger. Any damage it receives after that point will target the absorbed health. Damage absorbed will show in a buff indicator in the UI. Once it reaches 0, molt explodes, dealing toxin damage to nearby enemies. So basically, it makes molt stronger and tougher, which means you can somehow survive because molt will be there to distract enemies. The question now is, how tough will the spore be? How good will this change be in terms of adding to Saryn's survivability? I get it, the developer wants her molt to be able to sustain damage, so it would last longer in the field, but the thing is, how about Saryn's survivability? Why give Saryn some bonus armor after she cast molt and not just a speed buff? Overall, my verdict for this ability is a slight buff, but her third ability is totally a buff. I mean, I love what they will do to her third ability, as it will not only be limited to melee weapons, but Toxic Clash will now affect primaries and secondaries. With Toxic Clash active, your weapons will trigger toxin status effect on any damage instance. In addition, its duration is increased from 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Good part is, its ability to spread spores to nearby enemies by dealing damage while active is maintained. But that 2 energy restore on spores burst by Toxic Clash will be removed because DE thinks that she will not be energy hungry anymore with the new spreading nature of spores, survivability of molt, and the increased duration of Toxic Clash and miasma. Lastly, melee weapons will have double the damage received from Toxic Slash, and her Contagion Cloud Augment will receive a few changes. The rework will allow kills with Toxiclash to leave behind a Toxin cloud. As an added bonus, melee kills double the damage dealt by the cloud. The changes are pretty good for this ability, to be honest, and for now, I call it a buff. Her fourth ability, Miasma, will receive some changes too. They will increase its damage from 350 to 500, and as well as its duration from 3 to 5 seconds. In addition, Miasma will inflict double damage on targets that are affected by spores. Another good change is, when recasting on the same enemy, it will refresh the tick duration and maintain the viral status effect, but will not stun enemies a second time. But the best change to this ability is turning its base elemental damage from corrosive to viral. Will this be the new Spores ability after the rework? Well, I feel that this will be a good ability right after the rework, but I'm not gonna say that this will be amazing, as I really need to get a first-hand feel on this changes first. I'm feeling that this will be a really useful ability, but I will not make any conclusion just yet. For now, I would say that it's a buff. So those are all the changes that will happen to Saryn right after her rework. To tell you honestly, I'm not really a Saryn main, and I don't usually play her. I just don't know how amazing of a Warframe she is, but many said to me that her spores are just really that powerful, and that's her identity in the game right now. I don't know how these changes will affect her just yet, but based from what I've heard from our community here, and based from my friends who main Saryn, this rework is a total nerf overall. Even though there are tons of good changes that Digital Extremes made to her abilities, players are seeing this as a nerf because of the spores being stripped with its viral status. I don't want to make a final verdict, however, whether this is really a nerf or not. I will try to play her this week, and feel how amazing she is. So if the rework comes, I can give you my overall impression about these changes. For now, you can leave your comments and reactions below so we can discuss about these changes. Before leaving, please do me a favor and hit that like button. If it's your first time here, you can join the Grind team by simply subscribing to this channel. Remember to turn on notifications to receive daily updates from this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.